Okay. Have you ever been sitting in a presentation and you're kind of nodding along, but really you've totally zoned out? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what you're going to have for dinner later.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
But then there are those speakers, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just hooked on every word they say.
Totally. It's like magic.
What makes the difference?
Well, more often than not, I think it comes down to storytelling.
Right?
That's how they really pull you in.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to really dive deep into today.
I'm excited.
Me too.
You.
So we've got this really interesting resource we're going to be working with.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Speak with Impact by Teacher Sam.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and it's all about making your presentations really hit home,
Mm.
you know, not just kind of fading away the second people walk out of the room.
Yeah, you want them to remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to make your message unforgettable.
Make it stick.
And Teacher Sam actually lays out 10 specific storytelling techniques to help you do that.
Wow, 10 techniques.
Yeah, he really goes into detail. And he backs each one up with examples and really practical tips and insights that you can actually use.
Oh, nice. So it's not just theory, it's actually applicable.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter what kind of presentation you're giving, you know, whether you're prepping for like a really high stakes business pitch
Yeah.
or you're trying to get your team really excited about a new project or vision that you have.
Or even like a keynote speech at a conference, right?
Exactly. All these techniques can really help you make your message land.
So no matter what kind of speaker you are, there's something in here for you.
Absolutely. And our goal today is to kind of pull out the really key insights from these 10 techniques
Okay.
so that you can start using them right away.
Yeah. Give people the practical stuff they can use.
Exactly. You don't have to become a professional screenwriter or anything like that.
They'll like that.
Just take away some actionable tips you can implement in your next presentation.
Sounds good.
All right, let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So technique number 1 is something called the hero's journey.
Ooh, the hero's journey.
Now, I know it sounds a bit like we're suddenly talking about mythology or something,
Yeah, a little bit.
but it actually has a lot of relevance for just everyday presentations.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the basic idea is that it draws on this concept from Joseph Campbell's work,
Okay.
where your audience, in a way, can see themselves as the hero of a story.
Okay, so they're the hero.
Yeah, and they're facing some kind of challenge.
I like that.
And your presentation is like the guide or the tool that helps them on their quest.
So they're Luke Skywalker and you're Yoda?
Exactly.
I'm into it.
So how do you actually put this into practice?
Right, good question.
Well, Teacher Sam breaks it down into a few steps.
Okay.
So first you identify a common challenge that your audience is probably facing.
Something they can relate to.
Exactly, something they're struggling with.
Okay.
And then you really describe the difficulties and the emotions that come with that challenge.
Yeah, really paint a picture of what it feels like to be in their shoes.
Right. It's about making that connection,
Yeah.
making them feel understood.
So they know you get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like you're saying, hey, I've been there. I know what you're going through.
That makes sense.
And then this is a key part. You introduce the solution.
Okay.
And in the context of your presentation, right, this is where your expertise, your product, your big idea that you're presenting comes in.
So that becomes the solution to their problem.
Yeah, it's like the mentor or the magical artifact that helps the hero on their journey.
I love that analogy.
And finally, you show them the positive outcome.
Yeah.
You know, what does it look like once they've overcome that challenge?
Right. What's the happy ending?
Exactly. What are the benefits and how do they feel once they've reached that point?
Okay, so you're giving them a vision of success.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm following.
So to give you a really relatable example, Teacher Sam talks about the fear of public speaking.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's favorite.
Right, it's classic.
Yeah.
So in this case, the challenge is that fear itself
Makes sense.
and the struggles, all the anxiety and the avoidance that comes with it.
the sweaty palms, the racing heart,
Exactly. And then the solution is learning effective speaking strategies.
which is what Teacher Sam is all about.
And the victorious outcome is, you know, being able to lead meetings, confidently inspiring others.
Things that a lot of people aspire to.
Exactly. And the reason this whole hero's journey thing works so well is because it taps into a story structure that we all instinctively understand.
It's like a universal language.
We're hardwired to understand stories about overcoming obstacles and achieving something great.
It's in our DNA.
And by framing your presentation in this way, you're not just giving information, you're actually tapping into that deep understanding that people already have.
So it resonates on a much deeper level.
Exactly. It becomes much more powerful.
Very cool.
All right, let's move on to technique number 2.
Okay, what's next?
This one is start with a powerful hook.
Oh, yeah, this one seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's all about grabbing attention right from the get-go.
You gotta make a strong first impression.
Absolutely. And Teacher Sam is really adamant about this. He says, in today's world, attention spans are so short
Oh, yeah, for sure.
that a strong opening is crucial. It's your chance to show your audience that what you have to say is actually valuable.
So they don't just tune you out.
Yeah, and he gives 3 main types of hooks you can use.
Okay, I'm curious.
So the first one is a shocking statistic.
Oh, I love a good stat.
An example he gives is, did you know that 75% of people fear public speaking more than death?
Wow, that's intense.
I know, right? It really makes you stop and think.
It makes you wonder if it's even true.
Right. It's unexpected and kind of unsettling.
And it definitely makes you want to hear more.
Exactly. So the second type of hook is a thought-provoking question.
Okay, like a riddle?
Yeah, something that gets people thinking. Teacher Sam suggests something like, what if I told you that in 10 minutes you could double your confidence on stage?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. It immediately speaks to something people want,
Wow.
and it promises a really tangible benefit.
It makes you think, maybe this is worth listening to.
Exactly. And the third type of hook is a personal story.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, me too. They can be really effective. The example he gives is, 3 years ago I stood in front of 500 people and my mind went totally blank. Today I teach public speaking. What changed?
There's a story there.
Right. You instantly want to know what happened. How did they overcome that?
It makes you curious about their journey.
Exactly. It shows vulnerability and it makes the speaker relatable.
Like they're human too.
And then Teacher Sam gives a really nice example of a hook that kind of combines a few of these elements.
Oh, a hybrid hook.
Yeah, it goes like this. Imagine this. You step onto a stage with sweaty palms and a racing heart. But instead of fear, you feel excitement. Your audience is leaning forward, hanging on to your every word.
Yeah.
This isn't a fantasy, it's possible, and today I'll show you how.
Wow, it's powerful.
Right? It paints such a vivid picture, and it directly connects to what the audience might want to achieve.
It gives them hope.
Yeah, exactly. It shows them that their fear can be transformed into excitement.
Love it.
All right, ready for technique number 3.
Hit me.
This one is use the power of emotion.
Okay, now we're getting to the heart of storytelling.
Right. Because emotions are what really make stories stick with us.
They're what make them memorable.
Exactly. And Teacher Sam points out that people connect with feelings on a much deeper level than just facts and figures.
It's not just about the information, it's about how it makes you feel.
Right. Emotional stories create stronger bonds between the speaker and the audience.
They make you feel like you know the speaker.
And they're way more likely to stay with you long after the presentation is over.
They stick in your heart.
So how do you actually tap into that power of emotion?
Yeah, good question.
Well, Teacher Sam gives a few suggestions.
Okay.
One is to share personal struggles and triumphs.
Oh, that's a good one. It shows your vulnerability,
Exactly, and it makes you more relatable.
like you're a real person.
He also says to use vivid language that really evokes feelings.
So not just saying happy, but describing the feeling of joy bubbling up inside you.
Right, painting a picture with your words.
And telling stories that are relatable, human-centered.
Yeah, stories that people can see themselves in.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he gives this great before and after example to show how powerful emotion can be.
Oh, I like these.
So instead of just saying something kind of dry like, we need to take climate change seriously,
Yeah, that doesn't really grab you.
he suggests saying, can you picture waking up one day to find your childhood home submerged beneath the waves?
Oh, wow, that's heavy.
Right. It
Or-
suddenly becomes so much more personal and visceral.
You can actually feel the loss.
Exactly. It makes the issue feel real and urgent.
It's not just an abstract concept anymore.
And that's the kind of emotional impact that stays with people.
Powerful stuff.
All right, ready for technique number 4.
Let's go.
This one is called incorporate relatable characters.
Okay, so this is building on that idea of making things personal.
Exactly, but focusing specifically on the people in your stories.
Right, because we connect with people more than we connect with ideas.
Yeah, people are inherently interesting.
And Teacher Sam says that by introducing characters that the audience can relate to,
It makes your message more human and engaging.
it's like you're inviting them into a story about someone they know.
So how do you make a character relatable?
Yeah, how do you bring them to life?
Well, Teacher Sam suggests using real names and details
Okay, so make them specific.
to make them feel authentic.
Yeah,
Like real people.
not just generic placeholders.
Exactly. He also says to describe them vividly so that the audience can really picture them.
Like you can imagine them standing right there in the room.
Yeah, and give them everyday struggles and emotions that your audience will recognize.
Things that everyone goes through.
And he gives this example. Meet Sarah, a 30-year-old marketing executive who dreaded presentations. She would shake sweat and stumble over her words. Then she discovered a storytelling technique that changed everything. Today, she confidently leads meetings and wows clients.
So she's kind of like the hero of her own story.
Exactly, and it's that transformation that makes her relatable and inspiring.
It gives people hope that they can change, too.
All right, technique number 5 is all about creating suspense. Yeah, it might seem a little out of place in a professional presentation,
Like, we're not writing a thriller here.
but teacher Sam actually argues that it can be really effective
Huh, interesting.
because it keeps your audience on the edge of their seats, wondering what's going to happen next.
So they don't tune out.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of anticipation and making them invested in finding out the resolution.
So how do you do that?
Well, he gives a few strategies.
Okay.
One is to pose an unresolved question at the beginning of a story within your presentation.
So like a little mystery?
Yeah, something that makes people want to know the answer.
I like that.
You can also drop hints along the way without revealing the whole picture.
Little breadcrumbs.
Exactly. And you can use that classic what happens next technique.
Oh, yeah. The cliffhanger.
He gives this example. I was moments away from the biggest presentation of my life, and then something shocking happened. But before I tell you what, no, let's talk about the mistake I made that led to that moment.
Oh, man. Now I need to know what the mistake was and what happened.
Right? It makes you lean in and pay attention.
Definitely keeps you engaged.
Okay. Technique number 6 is use analogies and metaphors.
Oh, I love a good analogy.
Me too. They're such a great way to take complex ideas and make them easier to grasp.
It's like you're building a bridge between something unfamiliar and something people already understand.
Exactly. And Teacher Sam says that analogies help make abstract topics more concrete.
So it's not just floating out there in the ether.
Right. It gives people a framework to hang the new information on.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful.
And he gives a really simple but effective example. Public speaking is a lot like learning to drive a car. At first, you're consciously overthinking every single movement, but with enough practice, it becomes completely second nature.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Right, most people have experienced that learning curve with something.
And it makes mastering public speaking seem less daunting.
Exactly. It makes it feel achievable.
All right, what's the next technique?
This one is all about dialogue.
Dialogue.
Yeah, using the actual words that people say in your stories.
Oh, that's a good way to bring them to life.
Exactly. Teacher Sam says that dialogue makes narratives more dynamic and personal.
Because you're actually hearing the characters' voices.
Right, instead of just having the speaker summarize what they said or felt.
It makes it more immersive.
And he gives this great example. Instead of saying John was really nervous, he suggests using the actual dialogue. John turned to me, his voice barely a whisper, and said, "I honestly don't think I can do this." I looked him in the eye, smiled, and replied, "You've absolutely got this. Just tell your story."
Wow, you can really feel John's anxiety in that moment.
Right. It's so much more powerful than just saying he was nervous.
It pulls you right into the scene.
All right, we're on the home stretch now.
Okay, almost there.
Technique number 8 is end with a strong call to action.
The CTA.
So you've captivated your audience with your amazing storytelling skills.
Hopefully.
Now what do you want them to do?
Right, you need to give them a direction.
Exactly. And Teacher Sam emphasizes that a good presentation doesn't just end, it motivates the audience to take action.
So it's not just informative, it's actually inspiring.
And he says a clear and strong call to action provides that direction.
It tells them what to do next.
And he outlines the key elements you need to include.
Okay, what are they?
First, you need to tell them exactly what you want them to do.
Be specific.
Right? Don't leave it open-ended.
Okay.
And then you need to create a sense of urgency or make it really compelling for them to take that action.
Give them a reason to do it now.
And the example he gives is, now that you've explored these 10 powerful storytelling techniques, which one will you commit to using in your very next presentation? Choose just one, practice it, and then let me know how it transforms your speaking.
Nice. So he's giving them a challenge and encouraging them to share their results.
Exactly. It's a great way to wrap things up and get people to actually apply what they've learned.
So that's all 10 techniques?
Wow, we covered a lot of ground.
We did.
But I think it really highlights how important storytelling is for effective communication.
It's not just for entertainment.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool that can be used in any professional setting.
Absolutely.
And to recap quickly, we've learned about positioning your audience as the hero,
Right.
grabbing their attention with a strong hook,
Using emotions to connect with them.
Introducing relatable characters.
Building suspense.
Using analogies and metaphors to explain complex ideas.
Bringing stories to life with dialogue.
And ending with a clear call to action.
We've got a whole toolkit now.
We do.
Hmm.
And Teacher Sam's final piece of advice is to start small, you know?
Don't try to do everything at once.
Yeah, just pick one technique for your next presentation and go from there.
Makes sense.
Gradually incorporate more as you get more comfortable.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
So thinking about that, what's one story that you could weave into your next presentation that would really resonate with your audience?
Yeah, and leave a lasting impact.
It's about finding that perfect story that will really connect with them on a personal level.
That's something to think about.
For sure. Well, I think this deep dive has given us a lot to chew on.
I agree. It's been really insightful.
And hopefully it's given you some new tools and strategies to make your presentations more engaging and effective.
Absolutely. And remember, storytelling is a journey. So keep practicing and experimenting.
And keep those stories coming.
Yeah, the world needs more great storytellers.
All right. That's it for today.
Thanks for having
It
me.
was great talking to you.
Likewise.
See you next time.
Bye.